Right now on Morning News Now, uncertainty over a new ceasefire deal in Gaza. International mediators are said to be locked in serious negotiations that would lead to the release of more Israeli hostages. Those talks come as Hamas's media office says more than 20,000 people have now been killed in Gaza since the war began. And as the humanitarian situation worsens, the World Health Organization says northern Gaza has no functioning hospitals.
They don't have specialists, they don't have surgeons, they don't have power, they don't have water, they don't have food.
We'll have the latest on the ground as the UN Security Council pushes again for a ceasefire vote. Also this morning, some of the Americans released in Venezuela as part of a prisoner swap are back home. They were exchanged for a Colombian businessman who's an ally of Venezuela's president. More on who was released and what the deal means for U.S. relations with Venezuela. And as many of us gear up for the Christmas holiday getaway, we are getting an inside look at how TSA officers are preparing for the travel rush, hoping to get you to your destination safe and sound. Plus, in a turbulent year of change and upheaval, we're going to show you the most iconic images of 2023 as selected by National Geographic. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off today. Today, the United Nations Security Council is set to vote on a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. That vote has been delayed twice in the hopes the U.S. would not veto the resolution. U.S. officials have requested more time for negotiations. If approved, the UN would be free to create a system for monitoring the delivery of aid in Gaza. The U.S. has already vetoed previous motions for a ceasefire in the region. As the fighting continues, the Hamas-led health ministry says more than 20,000 people have now been killed in the war in Gaza. UN officials say Gaza is plagued with infectious disease. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter has the latest.
Outside her family home in Khan Yunis, Noreen Abu Dhaka cries out. "Where is my sister?" she says. "My sister is here. My sister is here. Where is my father?" "Where is my father?" she asks again, but no one has the answer. The agony of not knowing. Hanan Abu Dhaka, the woman in purple, her sister-in-law, calls her husband Mohammed and son Hassan. The next day, the body of Hanan's son has been found. Now one of an estimated 20,000 people killed in Gaza since October 7th, according to the government media office in Hamas-controlled Gaza. Shrouded in a brown blanket, transported to the morgue, her hand never leaves his body. Inside, the boy will be officially counted among the dead. Name, Hassan Mohammed Abu Dhaka, the coroner writes. Age, 14. Location of death, at home, airstrikes. Gazan health officials take pictures with his name, his face too disfigured to show. Nurse Abu Ahmed at Nasser Hospital explains the condition of the body and signs of injury from the bombing are fully examined, then documented by the forensics team, and only then the family receives a death certificate. Logging Hassan's name and ID number, it's then sent to Ramallah to the Palestinian health minister's database. Counting the dead amid the chaos of war with little connectivity, with so many still missing, is challenging, and the Gaza Health Ministry does not differentiate between civilian and militant deaths in their wartime data. Doctors Without Borders says it's plausible this death toll may be an underestimate.
The level, the intensity in such a short amount of time, we have not seen that in our history, certainly in the region.
Back in the morgue's parking lot, Salat al-Janaza, the funeral prayer recited for the 5 Abu Dhakas. Their bodies quickly loaded into the back of an ambulance for burial. But there's no funeral, no Beit Aza to mourn their deaths. With a drone overhead, there isn't time. Molly Hunter, NBC News.
In other news, there is political fallout this morning following that first-of-its-kind ruling from Colorado's Supreme Court. It bars former President Donald Trump from appearing on the state's upcoming Republican primary ballot. Political insiders in both parties say this ruling could actually end up giving the Trump campaign a boost. The court ruled that Trump, quote, incited and encouraged the use of violence and lawless action to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power. The court argues those actions were a violation of a little-known section of the 14th Amendment. A spokesman for Trump's campaign says they plan to appeal, saying in part, quote, "We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits." NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen joins us now with more on the political implications for the former president. John, good morning. Good to have you with us. So as we know, Trump is facing criminal charges in 4 cases already at both the federal and state levels. So far, each indictment only appears to bolster his base. So why is it political insiders think this Colorado ruling is actually going to help Trump politically?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. I think it's what you just pointed to, that here's a president, former president, who is running, who has been indicted 4 times, and every time that happens, there's a rally around the flag effect, meaning Republicans rally around Trump. What we're hearing, from other candidates, from aides to other candidates in the Republican primaries, that they believe that this is going to help Trump, who has been making an argument that he's the victim of an overzealous Democratic Party that's trying to deny him Democratic access to the ballot, that's trying to imprison him in order to prevent him from running for president. So and by the way, it's not just Republicans. We heard from Democrats yesterday too. David Axelrod, the former advisor to Barack Obama, posting on Twitter about this, that he believed that it would help Trump. So this is really, I would say, roundly agreed upon in a way that most things aren't between Democratic and Republican insiders, that this is something that will at least help Trump in the short term, maybe even in a general election.
So what's some of the reaction to this Colorado decision we're hearing from Trump's 2024 rivals and also from the current president?
Yeah, Joe, what we're hearing from Trump's rivals is a little bit of a mix, but it's mostly supportive of him. Vivek Ramaswamy, the entrepreneur who's running for president, has vowed that he will withdraw from the Colorado ballot if Trump is not restored to it. And we heard Ron DeSantis yesterday say that he thinks that the Democrats are coming after Trump in a way that, in his view, is designed to help Trump. But acknowledging there that it might help him. And Nikki Haley said, that she thinks this is the wrong maneuver, but she's going to try to beat Trump fair and square. And then, of course, on the Democratic side, you've got Dean Phillips, who is challenging Joe Biden in a primary, who basically said that this was unfair, that without a conviction, Trump should not be removed from the ballot under the 14th Amendment, which says that an insurrectionist can't hold federal office. But Trump has obviously not been convicted of insurrection. And then there is the person everybody was waiting to hear from yesterday, President Joe Biden. I think we've got some sound from that.
Trump an insurrectionist, sir?
Well, I think certainly it's self-evident. You saw it all. Now, whether the 14th Amendment applies, I'll let the court make that decision. But he certainly supported an insurrection. And no question about it. None. Zero.
And what you hear there from President Biden is, of course, consistent with what he's been saying, which is that Trump did participate in an insurrection in sort of layman's terms. But the question of, whether he's going to be convicted over that and whether that should remove him from the ballot is something that the president didn't actually address there.
And John, the Colorado Republican Party may have found a way around this, possibly switching from a primary to a caucus. Real quick, what should we know about that?
Sort of plan B for the Colorado Republican Party. They're going to wait to see what the Supreme Court does, and then they would need approval from the Republican National Committee and probably also the Colorado Secretary of State's office. So that's a little ways off, but certainly they're looking at what their backup plans are if, in fact, Trump is denied access to the ballot.
All right. John Allen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Now, the Colorado Supreme Court's 4-3 decision was based on a provision in the Constitution that you may not have talked about in your political science classes, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. NBC News correspondent Noah Pransky breaks down what Section 3 is and how it could impact next year's election.
No person shall hold any office who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, engaged in insurrection or rebellion. Chances are the 14th Amendment isn't near the top of your most familiar constitutional amendment list. In fact, it's probably behind the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 13th, 15th, 19th, that tax one, the drinking one, and the other drinking one too. But here's why the 14th could be one of the very most important of 2024. See, this insurrection disqualifying language was ratified following the Civil War as a way to keep Confederates and their sympathizers out of office. it does not explicitly require a criminal conviction, but it was really only used between 1868 and 1872. That was until 2022, when a court removed from office a New Mexico County commissioner, also the co-founder of Cowboys for Trump, and disqualified him from ever holding office again based on his participation in the January 6th riots. And then December 2023 happened.
A bombshell ruling from the Colorado Supreme Court.
Mr. Trump is disqualified from the primary ballot.
A majority of Colorado's Supreme Court wrote in its split decision, Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Former President Trump responded on Truth Social, "What a shame for our country, a sad day for America." And his campaign spokesperson said they would appeal and promised the decision would be overturned. There's only one court that can do that.
This is surely going to the U.S. Supreme Court.
So all eyes now shift to the nation's highest court, which may have to consider whether this 155-year-old amendment, which doesn't actually mention the office of president, should prevent the Republican frontrunner for president from winning an election. Uncertainty that Coloradans are hoping is settled before they go to the polls on Super Tuesday, March 5th.
Our thanks to Noah Pransky for that report. One final note, 7 justices sit on the Colorado Supreme Court. All of them were appointed by Democrats. According to a report obtained by NBC News, social media outlets this week have been flooded with threats against those justices. A judge is ordering Rudy Giuliani to start paying 2 election workers who successfully sued him for defamation. The former New York City mayor falsely accused the workers of trying to rig the 2020 election against former President Donald Trump. Over the summer, he was found liable for defamation after failing to respond to parts of their lawsuit. And last week, a jury awarded the workers $148 million in damages. Now, normally the plaintiffs would have to wait 30 days to begin collecting, but the judge is allowing the women to start collecting immediately, saying that Giuliani has refused to disclose his assets to the court. The busiest travel season of the year is underway. More than 7.5 million people are expected to fly before the end of December. That means a lot of passengers going through airport security. NBC News correspondent Tom Costello gives us an inside look at how the TSA is handling the holiday rush.
Permits, jackets have to go through the X-ray, okay?
3 a.m. at DFW, and the first TSA shift is clocked in.
Come on up, guys. ID and ticket, please.
As the early bird flyers queue up.
I just need your ID. Hold on to your ticket.
Up since 1 a.m., TSA officer Gabriela Ocampo, 10 years on the job.
Hands by your side. Keep walking.
And Air Force veteran Robert Bailey.
All right, do me a favor. Take your boots off. They're alarmed, okay?
80,000 people are coming through DFW today, 2.5 million through checkpoints nationwide.
Next 2, side by side.
To expedite screening, dog teams often sniff along passenger lines for any whiff of explosives, allowing passengers to keep their shoes on, while TSA officers rotate through multiple jobs all day to stay alert and focused. ID checks, body scanners, carry-on luggage x-rays, and a second look for checked bags.
We're not personally going in every bag because technology takes care of a lot of this stuff.
And 2023 is set to break another record.
Ma'am, do you have anything sharp or dangerous, breakable or fragile inside the bag?
Guns. Nationwide, TSA officers have so far detected more than 6,300 guns this year, 93% of them loaded. Most passengers say they forgot to properly check it in a TSA-approved case. The airports with the most gun confiscations: Atlanta, DFW, Houston, Phoenix, and Nashville. And the very officers charged with ensuring passenger safety are sometimes verbally abused.
We do not ever tolerate abuse of our officers. We will call on law enforcement to help intervene where we need to.
22 years after 9/11, the core mission remains the same.
It's the safety of the passengers. My family also travels, and I would like to think that they're in good hands as well.
A high-volume, high-stress day, and it all starts again at 3 a.m. Tom Costello, NBC News at DFW.
All right, that's the security part of your travel. How about the weather? Severe storms are slamming the west this morning with millions of Americans still under flood watches. So let's check the forecast with Angie Lastman. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Hey there, Joe. Good morning to you. I know that's what's on everybody's mind. Are we going to be able to get to our destinations? And will the weather interrupt that? Now, one spot that I want you to watch is going to be parts of the Southwest, specifically through the day today, California extending into Arizona. We've got 26 million people under flood alerts. We've already seen impressive flooding reports of folks stuck in cars that have tried to drive through those flooded roadways up and down the coast of California, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Luis Obispo, all included in that alert, as well as Phoenix. This is going to go through Saturday, and you can see these kind of bands of rain that are coming on in, and they do have impressive rainfall rates associated with them. So some additional rain over the next 48 hours leads to that potential for flooding for the next couple of days. Here's how it plays out. We've got this strong storm sitting out over the Pacific, but moving a little closer to the California coast through the morning hours today and eventually into the afternoon today as well. That rain and on top of it wind will be something we contend with across portions of Southern California through the day today. And then it moves a little farther to the east. It starts to impact folks across the desert Southwest. Specifically, Arizona will see some of those higher rainfall amounts. Totals coming in 1 to 3 inches, but we could see an inch per hour in some of these spots with a really impressive rainfall intensity. As we get into your day on Saturday, that cold front will push across the Great Basin, and it leaves us with the potential for some snow as well for parts of the Rockies, specifically the central and southern Rockies. So if you're looking for some snow ahead of Christmas, that's where you got to go, because there isn't much anywhere else. Meanwhile, watch for the flash flood risk. We've already seen, again, some of those issues this morning. Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, San Diego included in that bullseye. And the slight risk is for tomorrow from San Diego out to Phoenix, including Tucson too. We could see some flooding of those rivers, the creeks, the streams, all of that on the table, with anywhere from, I think, 1 inch to 3 inches on the higher end. But we know it doesn't take much to flood some of these areas, especially when we're dealing with burn scars. So the mudslides, the flooding concern will be there for folks in that region. Meanwhile, the Rockies could get a good amount of snow in some spots like Durango. We'll see some additional snow for folks celebrating in Aspen, and that goes through Saturday. Now, elsewhere across the country, this is my favorite thing that we've ever said. Where's winter? Because mid-50s, upper 50s, low 60s in parts of the Midwest. That is not what you see for December, but that's what we're getting. It's a little chillier across parts of the Northeast, but you look down to the Southeast, and it's picture perfect for folks there across Georgia, Alabama, 60s to mid-60s. A couple of showers and some breezy conditions across the South, but overall, the biggest thing that will be impactful for weather today is going to be the Southwest, specifically California. Again, those major airports, Joe, LA, San Diego, Phoenix, spots that if you're trying to go west, then or wherever in that
right,
region,
and all the planes that go through those areas as well. I think it'll be a West
Could be
Coast
an issue.
nightmare. But we're going for the holidays.
I think I'm packing my shorts.
Exactly. It's going to be
Midwest.
who needs to go, to the Caribbean. We'll just head to the Midwest. Thanks,
Yes,
Angie. Appreciate
exactly.
it. Coming up, back on home soil, several American detainees held in Venezuela have now returned to the U.S. after a prisoner swap between the two countries. Details of the deal and who's involved next. We're back with the latest on the major prisoner swap between the U.S. and Venezuela. Several Americans are now back on U.S. soil, grateful to be home after a deal was reached between the two countries. The U.S. agreed to release an ally of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in exchange for 10 U.S. citizens, plus the release of 20 Venezuelan political prisoners. Here you see that 6 of the 10 Americans who were released arrived at Kelly Field in San Antonio, Texas last night. The State Department says they were wrongfully detained. White House officials announced that as part of the deal, the U.S. would be releasing Colombian businessman Alex Saab. He was arrested for money laundering back in 2020 and accused of playing a role in a bribery scheme that involved $350 million taken from the Venezuelan government. Well, in Milwaukee yesterday, President Biden reacted to the exchange.
We've secured the release of every American being held in Venezuela on their way home. And we have no higher priority than the release of detained and/or hostage Americans being held hostage.
Joining us for more on this is NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, good morning. So what else should we know about this deal? Just how significant is this exchange with Venezuela?
It is significant, Joe. It's something that the Biden administration has really been working on for years. This is something, of course, that they give a lot of attention to around the world, and sometimes there are more high-profile cases that we know about, and then there are others that still they're devoting just as much effort to. But what's significant here is really what's happening in terms of the exchange. This is something where the Biden administration has received some criticism because there are questions about if you make a deal with an authoritarian regime, what kind of incentivization does that give to other countries to potentially hold other U.S. citizens who are abroad. But the White House and the president have really said that these are difficult decisions to make, but one that he had to because these Americans were being held illegally in the U.S. view, and that it was important to get them back home. And then, of course, this is a calculation they have to make in terms of releasing others that they maybe would have wanted to, of course, keep in the U.S., but it's something they said that they felt in the end was absolutely worth it, Joe.
So we saw 6 of the 10 Americans land in Texas yesterday. What have we learned about the Americans who were released, and what are they saying now that they're free?
Yeah, and you can see them right there. It was certainly an emotional return for them landing in San Antonio, Texas overnight. Some of them said that for some of their time in Venezuela, they were treated decently, but that for other stretches of time, they had no idea when they would be allowed to return home. So you can imagine what it must have felt like to touch down. And here's a little bit from one of the wrongfully detained Americans.
Free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last. Very emotional. Exciting, grateful, so much gratitude for the moment, for the United States of America, for all of you, and for the opportunity to come home. I didn't know if I would ever make it out, and it's really scary to be in a place where you're used to having freedoms and you're locked into a cell.
And the other important context here, Joe, is that Venezuela has agreed, according to the U.S., to hold free and fair elections next year. That was a big part of this deal and something the U.S. was working to secure.
And there's one other part of this deal, the extradition of fugitive Leonard Francis, who's better known as Fat Leonard. He actually fled to Venezuela before his sentencing in the U.S. Just what more should we know about him?
Yeah, he had a monitoring anklet on in San Diego. He cut it off years ago. He fled through Mexico to Venezuela. So this is somebody who was a part of one of the worst bribery scandals in U.S. Navy history. So someone the U.S. was very interested in seeing arrested and returned so that he can now continue to face those charges here. Joe.
All right, Monica Alba at the White House. Monica, thank you so much. More international headlines now, starting in the Chinese city of Shanghai, which is seeing some record-breaking cold weather. NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lobanga has that and other news from around the world. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. It's the coldest December in Shanghai in 4 decades, and authorities there have issued a warning for low temperatures and icy conditions at least until next week. Now the city is seeing temperatures as low as 21 degrees. This cold weather is also having some heavy impact on those earthquake evacuees in northwestern China. Thousands of homes have been destroyed, and now shelters are stocking up on heating equipment to keep those displaced residents warm. Now let's travel over to Argentina, where thousands took to the streets to protest against President Javier Milei's sweeping new economic plan. This is the first major protest since Milei was elected earlier this month. It comes as Milei just announced polarizing plans to transform the country's struggling economy. Thousands hit the streets, some even scuffled with the police. But demonstrations quickly broke after a strict government warning over blocking the streets. And we end our tour of the world in Thailand with a little monkey business. 3 trafficked Sumatran orangutans were sent back to Indonesia from Thailand. Their return is a part of a joint initiative between the two countries to tackle illegal wildlife trade. 7-year-old Nobita and Shizuka and 5-year-old Brian were all living at a Thai wildlife sanctuary, but now the 3 monkeys will be sent to a rehabilitation center in Sumatra before being released into their natural habitat. According to officials, they are the last of the trafficked orangutans under the care of Thai authorities. Indonesia's ambassador to Thailand thanked the authorities in both countries but expressed some sadness for the caretakers who bonded with the monkeys over several years. Joe?
I'm sure it was pretty tough for them. All right, Claudio, thank you so much. Coming up, speaking out, we're going to hear from the friend of one of the women who accused rapper Sean Diddy Combs of sexual abuse. That exclusive interview next. We're back with an NBC News exclusive. As we've been reporting, music mogul and rapper Sean Diddy Combs has faced 4 different lawsuits in recent weeks alleging sexual assault and abuse. He has denied all the allegations. The first lawsuit came from singer Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend, who accused Combs of sexual abuse and sex trafficking during the decade they were together. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas spoke exclusively to a longtime friend of Cassie, who opened up about what she says she witnessed.
I don't think people understand what it's like to be traumatized by somebody famous and rich, because you can't get away from them.
Tiffany Red has written for the likes of Zendaya, Jason Derulo, and Jennifer Hudson. In 2015, she became friends with Cassie while writing songs for her album. At that point, Cassie and Diddy had been together for nearly 8 years. In a lawsuit Cassie filed last month, she detailed the abuse she says Diddy committed, including physical assault. Red says although she did not know about the alleged physical assault while working with Cassie, she did witness verbal abuse on more than one occasion, one of which took place during Cassie's 29th birthday in 2015. Red says Diddy showed up at karaoke where Cassie and a group of friends were celebrating.
So he had her backed into the corner, and he was like cussing her out with his hand in her face.
Later that night, Red, who was staying at Cassie's home, says she awoke to screaming.
He's standing in the living room area, and she's there, and he was like, emotional singing, bitch. There you are. And I just was like, oh, he's talking to me. And I remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside. And I remember looking in his eyes, and I said to him, what did y'all do? Because I could see that she was really sedated. That was the first time I ever seen her high before. And then he says, tell your girl she wants some birthday. And we were like, well, I mean, he's saying this to me, and I'm like, well, she doesn't have to have sex with you if she doesn't want to. He was upset, I guess that she didn't want to do with him whatever he wanted. I don't know. I don't feel like I could advocate for myself in that moment. I realized oh, this guy is dangerous.
Red says it was only a few months ago that Cassie told her what was really going on that night in 2015, that it all stemmed from the music executive wanting her to take part in what he called a freak-off against her will.
What did Cassie tell you about these freak-offs?
That he would hire these sex workers, and they would have sex with her or whatever, and he would watch and tell them what to do.
In her lawsuit, Cassie alleges she was forced to participate in freak-offs throughout her relationship with Diddy. Red learning recently one horrific detail from Cassie.
She told me the only time he was willing to do anything or work on her music, go through any plans, any of that, was when she had a freak off. So all of our music, all my work, to find out that I spent all these years writing these songs for him to rape my friend to, is just disgusting.
In the lawsuit, Cassie detailed the physical abuse she says Diddy committed, including an instance where she was put in a hotel room for days to heal. Red says Cassie recently told her about Diddy giving her a black eye before the premiere of her 2016 film, The Perfect Match.
I remember one time her telling me that, I think it might have been The Perfect Match, that movie that she was in, and she told me that she had a black eye under her makeup.
Do you believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes, I do.
Why?
I mean, look at his rap sheet.
An attorney for Cassie declined to comment. Diddy's attorney did not respond. In 2015, Diddy was arrested on 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon and other charges for allegedly beating up his son's football coach. Prosecutors declined to file felony charges related to that arrest. 24 hours after Cassie filed her lawsuit, she and Diddy announced that they had reached an undisclosed settlement. Combs released a statement saying, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best." His lawyer adding that the settlement was, quote, "in no way an admission of wrongdoing."
I mean, I just feel like it's PR. He's settled because he doesn't want to go to court.
Diddy's music career spans 3 decades, including 3 Grammy Awards and the creation of Bad Boy Records, representing artists from Mary J. Blige to the late Notorious B.I.G. In September, he was awarded MTV's Global Icon Award. But since the allegations surfaced, Hulu scrapped a reality series about his family, and the Recording Academy said they are considering to rescind his invite to this year's Grammys.
You know, I think a lot of people, especially in the Black community, are, you know, I've seen the narrative of like, you know, they just trying to take a Black man down, and it's just like, that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. This is about accountability and a reckoning. Like, that's just the bottom line.
As for what justice looks like,
I think justice looks like Diddy being behind bars, and I also think that justice looks like everybody getting retribution for all of the things, the amount of therapy. Like I just said, all of the moments, the time, like these are our careers.
And our thanks to Chloe Malas for that report. Red says speaking out to NBC News has helped her heal. She also says she wants to stand up for her friend Cassie and validate what was in that lawsuit. Now to an NBC News investigation looking into HCA, which is one of the nation's largest publicly traded for-profit hospitals. Concerns have been growing over the number of deaths related to the tracking of patients' heart rhythms using telemetry monitors. Telemetry is a critical tool in keeping patients alive. But as NBC News senior investigative and legal correspondent Cynthia McFadden explains, without proper monitoring, it can lead to tragedy.
Hospital heart monitors can be a critical tool in keeping patients alive. But when not monitored properly, they can lead to tragedy.
I lost my best friend. I'm not a couple anymore. I'm just me.
Cindy Downs raised 3 children with her husband of 49 years, Terry. Last year, the vibrant 68-year-old was admitted to Wesley Medical Center in Wichita, Kansas, owned by HCA. A bump on the head a few days prior had led to bleeding in his brain. Doctors operated and quickly fixed the problem. While in the hospital, Downs was on a telemetry monitor tracking his heart rhythms. After 21 days, he was scheduled for discharge.
I had a wonderful afternoon visiting with him, and he got a little spunky and was teasing me, and I said, "Oh, my husband's back."
According to his medical record, early the next morning at 4:18 a.m., he had a strong pulse. But over the next half hour, he had a life-threatening change to his heart rhythm. His medical record indicates the nurses caring for him were not alerted, as they should have been, by the telemetry technician. In fact, there was no telemetry record in his chart for the day he died, which experts say is highly unusual. However, HCA declined to explain why to either Terry Downs' family or to NBC News.
That kind of leaves me speechless, honestly.
Carrie Wilson's an experienced cardiac nurse in North Carolina, among 24 HCA healthcare professionals who've raised concerns to us. Do you believe that any patients have lost their lives as a result of bad telemetry practices?
Most certainly, and we've even reported some of those to the hospital and to our state agencies.
Wilson says once HCA took over in 2019, telemetry monitoring at Mission Hospital changed for the worse. Telemetry techs used to monitor about 20 patients at a time, and now
they can monitor up to 60 patients for one tech.
Can somebody do that effectively and safely?
No, not at all. We see it all the time where things are missed.
In the past, at most hospitals, telemetry monitors were located on patient floors, but that's changing. Terry Downs was being monitored from a different building, and some experts say since seconds matter, that can slow the process in critical ways. Is there any good medical reason to centralize the review of these telemetry monitors?
Absolutely not. In fact, there's a lot of medical reason not to.
But there is a good financial reason to do it.
Oh, most certainly. Technology should be there to enhance what we're doing, to improve, not to replace us. And that is what HCA has done. And it's not safe.
While HCA is not alone in increasing the number of patients monitored by one technician or utilizing remote monitoring, one former HCA executive described an epidemic of telemetry mishaps at some HCA hospitals. Part of the problem, HCA nurses are often overextended. On Florida's West Coast, where there are 16 HCA hospitals, NBC News found there have been 11 telemetry-related deaths cited by regulators since 2021. While at 13 comparable hospitals at the same region over the same time period, there was only one telemetry-related death. Public records reveal at one HCA hospital some patients on telemetry monitors were not being observed at all, and alarms were turned off or silenced. HCA's CEO Sam Hazen declined an interview request, but the company did provide a statement. Telemetry saves lives, and that is why we use it. Our telemetry technicians monitor on average fewer than 40 patients, a number that is in line with what the American Heart Association has determined is safe. The American Heart Association told us they have made no such determination. Back in Wichita, Cindy Downs has a question for the company's CEO.
Mr. Hazen, what if this was your wife? A hospital is supposed to care about patients.
Cynthia McFadden, NBC News.
Coming up, it has been a turbulent year for the economy. We're going to break down the biggest financial headlines that were marked by labor disputes and strikes. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Let's get to some financial headlines now. The International Trade Commission is stopping the clock on Apple's high-end watch. CNBC's Silvana Henao has that and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, so Apple loses a last-ditch effort to stop a ban on sales of high-end smartwatches from going into effect on Christmas Day. The International Trade Commission denying a motion to halt the ban, and that came in the wake of Massimo winning a case in which it claims technology used to measure blood oxygen levels on some Apple Watches infringes on its patents. The Biden administration could still step in to veto the ban for public policy reasons. Speaking of Apple, it's ramping up production of the Vision Pro mixed reality headset, setting the stage for a launch in February. Bloomberg reports manufacturing has been running at full speed at factories in China for several weeks. Apple has sent an email to software developers encouraging them to, quote, get ready for the Vision Pro by testing their apps with the latest tools and sending their software to Apple for feedback. The Vision Pro is Apple's first major new product since it started selling smartwatches back in 2015. And workers at a Wells Fargo branch in New Mexico have voted to unionize, becoming the first at a major U.S. bank to do so. The bankers and tellers are joining a broader union push that's emerged at companies like Starbucks and Amazon. They're seeking higher wages and better benefits and are pushing back against branch closures and what they say is rampant understaffing, low pay, and mismanagement. Wells Fargo says it respects the workers' right to unionize, but believes employees are better served by working directly with the company, Joe.
All right, Silvana, thank you so much. Let's stay with business and take a look back at the biggest financial news of 2023. It was a year that saw more than its fair share of labor disputes and financial scandals. And as NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung reports, it was also a huge year for women in the entertainment world.
It was the year of picket lines, bank blowups, and Barbie. The economy steered clear of a recession, but the biggest theme of all, worker power.
No justice, no peace.
Across the country, over 500,000 teachers, pharmacists, fast food workers, and more went on strike. The biggest ones targeting Hollywood and the Motor City. TV and movie production halted when the Writers Guild first walked out in May, with actors and performers joining 2 months later. In the fall, members of the United Auto Workers forced stoppages at Detroit's big three automakers, further empowered by President Biden's unprecedented visit to the picket line.
An attack on a worker anywhere is an attack on workers everywhere.
After months of shutdown, the question is who came out better on the other side? The Hollywood standstill cost $6 billion in lost wages and business impacts. Ford, GM, and Stellantis lost over $3.5 billion in profits together. Pay bumps were significant, with actors' wages rising more than 7%. Writers up 12.5%, and auto workers a whopping 25%.
Inflation is easing up. We're still talking about inflation.
Annual inflation is slowly coming down.
Still, high inflation showed signs of improving, dropping from over 6% to about 3% by year's end. Some things got cheaper compared to a year ago. Gas down 34 cents a gallon. Prices cracked on eggs, too, over $1 cheaper per dozen. The cost of living, though, continues to keep inflation readings high, although with median rents down 2%, hope that affordability will improve next year. A light at the end of the tunnel for Main Street, but in 2023, it was high drama on Wall Street when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in March, becoming the biggest collapse since the 2008 financial crisis, overshadowed just weeks later when First Republic failed as well, exposing bad bets made by poor managers. And in the crypto world, Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of the now-defunct crypto exchange FTX, was found guilty on charges of fraud and money laundering, now facing up to 110 years in prison. But it wasn't all bad blood this year. It was the ladies who may have kept the economy upbeat.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
Taylor Swift's Eras Tour became the first ever to gross $1 billion, with spending at tour stops estimated to have injected up to $5 billion in local economies. Queen Bee grossed over $500,000 on her tour, with her own estimated $4.5 billion possibly boosting those economies. And of course, the iconic doll Barbie raked in $1.4 billion, the highest grossing film of the year.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
All part of an eventful 2023 in the world of business.
Hi, Brian. Brian, thank you so much. With Christmas just days away, Santa's elves are working overtime. But what toys are on those lists that were mailed to Santa this year? Well, we have an expert with all the answers. Lori Shack joins us. She has the amazing title of Chief Toy Officer at the Toy Insider. I'm kind of jealous of your title right now. So good morning, Lori. What are the major toy trends for kids this year? Is it fair to say there isn't that like one big toy that everyone's looking for?
There is not that one big toy, and I kind of like it that way because that one big toy is not the right toy for everybody. But we're going to break it down because there are toys that you can still buy, keeping budget in mind. There are toys that kids love and adults love. So why don't we start there?
What do you got?
So this is our Pop Soft Mini Plush. So these are adorable plush made for kids, but adults are going crazy for them too. They actually come in blind bags. You can get elephants, octopus, unicorn. I mean, they're adorable. The designs and the graphics on them are beautiful. These are made with beans, some magic fluff, and some love. And they're $4.99. So they fit into that budget too, but they are really trending with adults just as much as they are with the kids.
So
and then Anime Heroes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
So Anime Heroes. So this is something that we know the kids love, right? So they watch shows like Naruto and Bleach. They want to get their favorite characters and recreate some of those scenes. But adults love it too. And the reason they love it is because of the posability, the different accessories it comes with, and each one comes with an extra pair of hands. And that has a lot to do with how adults and, teenagers are going to be posing them. So they do love to collect them all. You're looking at about a $22 price point. So again, nothing that's breaking the bank, but adults and kids.
We do know, the economy is forcing many families to watch their wallets this year. What are some of the ways people can avoid breaking the bank?
Okay, so let's talk about Pokemon. So Pokemon is something that a lot of parents grew up with. They love it. Their older kids love it. And now for $9.99, we're going to bring our little kids in. So this is Pokemon My First Battle. And basically it comes with 2 decks of cards. It comes with 2 maps that kids learn how to play on. They understand the difference between being benched and being active and how to take down an opponent's Pokemon. But it means the entire family can play together. And you can't beat a $9.99 price point for something like that. The next 2 items are going to come in at $19.99. Our kids will feel like little superheroes with the Spidey and Friends walkie-talkies. It's got a range of about 500 feet. Kids can use these indoors or out. It's got great graphics on it, and it's got no static. So one kid could be inside, one kid could be outside. Super secret superhero. $19.99, great price point. And the same thing with our Sonic Chargers. So these are great little RC cars. We can get Sonic, Silver, or Amy Rose. $19.99 for an RC. Nice little RC, 2 buttons for the kids to push. So forwards and back, and then the front wheel turns to go right and left. 16 kids could be playing at the same exact time.
All right, Lori Shack, thank you so much. You know, I'm doing a story right now, putting something together, revisiting 40 years of Cabbage Patch and looking back at all the videos of people elbowing each other and fighting. So it's nice to know we don't have anything like that this year, right?
Nothing like that, but some great, great toys.
We appreciate your help this morning.
Lists.
Cool. Lori, thank you so much. Coming up, painting the year in pictures. We're going to take a look back at some of the striking and standout images of 2023, according to National Geographic. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. NASA streamed high-definition video from deep space for the first time, and for the historic occasion, they chose a cat video. Yeah, you can see the clip here. It shows an orange tabby named Taters, which belongs to a NASA employee. The cat is, of course, chasing a laser pen. Taters was successfully streamed from a spacecraft 19 million miles away. Get this, despite the distance, the technology still got it to Earth faster than most broadband connections. The space agency is also getting into the holiday spirit by sharing this image. It's a group of young stars which forms a bright green shape that looks like a Christmas tree. NASA joked on its social media, it's beginning to look a lot like Cosmos. Get it? All right. You know the saying, sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, if that's true, then we're about to share thousands and thousands of breathtaking words with you as we look back at the top images from 2023. National Geographic magazine picked some of its favorite pics for the annual Pictures of the Year December issue, giving us a look at which stunning and culturally relevant images stand out among the rest. Sadie Quarrier, Director of Photography at National Geographic, joins us now to talk about this year's pictures. Good to have you with us, Sadie. I mean, selecting the finalists cannot be easy. You started with a pool of, what, 2 million pictures, many of them stunning. Then you cut it down to the 29 featured in this issue. I mean, walk us through what you're looking for when you are picking the images for this issue.
Yes, well, good morning. And we had 165 photographers literally on every continent this past year. And these are National Geographic photographers. So, of course, they are delivering well-executed images, great light, great compositions. So what I'm looking for are images that really move me, that where I have a connection, I get a strong emotional response. You know, the staff, the photo staff, they are looking at every single picture that the photographers are taking, and they sent to me their favorites over the course of the year. Each month I would get a few more, starting in the spring and over the summer. And you know, I edited through 4,700, and I'm just looking for the images that stick with me. You know, I'm making rounds of edits and bumping out images as new ones come in, and we're kind of keeping the tight edit. And yeah, I'm the ones that are still sticking with me a few weeks later are the ones that made the final 29.
I imagine, though, it has to be tough to kick some of those out of contention because there's so many good ones. I mean, if I got this right, you've been working at National Geographic for 29 years. So if that's right, you've seen some incredible things. Do you still, though, get surprised by some of the images you see?
I definitely do, and that is so reassuring, actually. You develop a really high bar working at National Geographic. Started working here right after college, and we work with the best photographers in the world, and we push them beyond the expected. They are driven and persistent and continue to create fresh, engaging, enduring moments that transport us. And there's just something so reassuring about knowing that that we can still be surprised and delighted, that I can, that you can, that there are still places in the world that we've never seen. There are cultural traditions that, I've never seen before. I've seen my fair share of penguin pictures and much more, but these photographers are capturing situations and people in new, fresh ways. And it's a bit of a nail biter every year with this special issue, thinking, are we going to deliver on that? Are we going to deliver on a promise? And I'm so pleased that, that we have and that we do continue to do that.
So we're looking at the cover right now. Let's talk about that. What's the picture on the cover? Why did you choose that?
Yes, this is an amazing picture by National Geographic explorer Keely Yuyan. He's on a big indigenous conservation project, and this is of a sea crate. This sea crate is 4 feet long, and Keely said, they're highly venomous. They're not aggressive, but they're very curious. And Keely said it was a bit nerve-wracking at first when they were interacting. He has his solo diving license, so he was just by himself, and the sea crate was kind of darting at him, and it's this frenetic ball of energy. And Keely said he just kind of waited it out and realized that the sea crate was using Keely. As Keely would kind of move his fins, it was, swimming in between his legs and looking for prey as Keely was stirring up things, and then it would dart back into the coral. So we love the dynamic feel of this image as it kind of brings you into the cover and makes you open up the magazine or makes you click to the next picture online.
Love the image and love the story behind the image. Sadie Quarrier, thank you so much. And to our viewers, you can see all of Nat Geo's pictures of the year at natgeo.com/photos. It's going to do it for this hour of morning news now, but stay with us. The news continues right now. Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off for the holiday. Right now on Morning News Now, a dire milestone in the Middle East. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza now says 20,000 Palestinians have been killed there as a result of the ongoing violence. It comes as the UN Security Council fails to agree on another ceasefire resolution overnight, though officials from both Israel and Hamas are still willing to come to a deal. We're going to bring you the latest from the ground. Back home, millions of Americans heading out the door to their holiday destinations with clear skies this morning. But on the West Coast, they're dealing with some pretty treacherous flooding. It's making those tinsel-laden trips a little tougher. We've got your full forecast in just a moment. Plus, how are America's airports holding up with that Christmas time surge? We're also watching your wallet this morning with some positive new economic data out just in time for Christmas. Why Americans are reportedly growing more optimistic about how and where they spend their cash. And later in the hour, we're talking about something called sleep divorce. It's trending big time on TikTok. So why are some couples now choosing to snooze separately? This morning, we are in the thick of the Christmas travel rush. 115 million Americans are on the move, the most since 2019, before the pandemic. Well, the weather is mostly cooperating. We do have some trouble spots out west, which Angie will tell us about in a minute. But first, let's check in with NBC News correspondent Tom Costello. He's at Dulles International near Washington with a look at how airports are handling the rush.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Listen, things are looking really pretty good here today. Nationwide, we've only got 49 flight cancellations. That's not bad at all. We are expecting today to be the busiest air travel day of the entire pre-Christmas rush. 49,000 flights, both commercial and general aviation. The biggest area to watch right now really is the West Coast. With the East Coast still recovering from the flooding and heavy wind that disrupted travel earlier in the week. This morning, it's California that's feeling Mother Nature's fury. Flooding, heavy winds, rain-soaked highways and runways.
Flood watches are in effect through at least Friday.
On Wednesday, the FlightAware Misery Map showed delays in red extending from LAX up to SFO, locked in with heavy fog.
Coming down like buckets.
But for most of the country, long lines but relatively clear skies.
We are going to Boston Logan, and it's been fine so far.
No repeat of last year's Christmas meltdown when Southwest canceled 17,000 flights. Though there was a disruption for travelers in New Orleans yesterday. Flights delayed after one Southwest plane turned around midair after a bird strike.
You guys have smoke coming out of one of your engines. Southwest 54, we have a bird strike.
The aircraft returned safely. For most passengers, things are running smoothly.
Walk through one at a time. One at a time, you good?
Today, TSA checkpoints across the country expect to screen another 2.5 million people. And the 311 rule still applies. 3 ounces or less in one quart-sized bag per passenger. Anything that you can spray, spread, pump, or pour must be 3.4 ounces or less. More than that, you've got to check it.
Keep it under that 3.4 ounces. It's going to be great. Once it exceeds that, now we run into issue.
And again this year, TSA on track to detect a record number of guns. 6,300 already, 93% of them loaded. Yeah, by the way, TSA up in New York, they found a whole bunch of bullets wrapped in a diaper yesterday. So it is something that the TSA is watching closely. We wanted to make the point, most people, of course, are driving, and right now they're paying about $3.09 a gallon, the national average for gasoline. About 21 cents cheaper than a year ago. So it is still a lot cheaper to drive than to fly. But boy, if you are flying, you picked a very good day to fly indeed. Joe, back to you.
All right, good for those folks. Tom Costello, thank you. Let's bring in meteorologist Angie Lastman with more on the weather, the good flying, the bad flying. What do we got?
I agree with Tom. I think for the most part, it's a pretty good day to travel. We've got quiet skies over most of the country, but of course, we've got a couple of problem areas. So let's talk about those. Specifically, parts of California, Arizona, under these flood alerts. A flood watch is up right now for 26 million people, including LA, San Diego, Phoenix. And you can see the rain that has been working in over the past day or so and is going to continue to do so as a system inches a little closer to the coast here. So here's the travel issues that we're looking at. Maybe some minor delays up in Seattle, Portland from some rain there, Salt Lake City and Denver here as you get into Friday and Saturday. But the bullseye for the roads and air travel, LA, San Diego and Phoenix, those are the spots that you're really going to want to watch as this system works closer and leaves us with some difficulties. When it comes to temperatures, if you're packing for wherever your destination may be across the country, you're most likely going to be warmer than it normally is. We've got some really warm conditions stretching across parts of the United States. The jet stream is farther north and keeping all of that chilly air that we expect for this time of year well to our north, so centered over Canada. Instead, we've got a Bermuda high that's in place through next week, and it's basically just driving some warm air to the north. So these temperatures range from the 50s in Omaha to the low 60s in Tulsa. Dallas ends up into the mid 60s. And this is what we deal with well into the rest of our work week and even into next week. When it comes to Christmas travel, I think you'll end up being surprised by these temperatures. Places like Chicago, New York, all running normal. Here's your forecast for Saturday. Southern storms across Texas, Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico. You'll have to watch for that, as well as some snow across the Rockies. It'll be warm through the Midwest all the way into Sunday. And then we do have the potential for some heavy rain as we get into Sunday over Texas. So places like Dallas, Houston could see some delays there. But there's Christmas Day, Joe. Some rain in the forecast from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes. I think the place to be, New York, looks pretty good. 51. LA looks nice and dry. Not a whole lot of snow in the forecast, though. So if you want that, you got to go to the Rockies.
I'm trying to see if I can remember a rainy Christmas. Like, just walking around with an umbrella.
I'm sure in the record.
It's happened. I know. I just
let you know.
Can't have one burned in my mind right now.
Well, here you go. I'll chat for you this week.
Angie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're learning new details this morning about the 3 hostages mistakenly killed in Gaza this week. Israeli officials say the group escaped from captivity at least 5 days before their deaths. The announcement is fueling more calls for a ceasefire in the region as the death toll soars. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us with the very latest. Molly, good morning.
Joe, good morning to you. That's right. We are learning more details, and pressure is building around those possible ceasefire talks. Now, this happens as sirens are sounding in Tel Aviv. We know the U.S. is still pushing for those talks. According to President Biden, John Kirby says they are, quote, very serious. And just in the last couple of hours, Hamas has actually said they won't even engage in talks about releasing hostages, Joe, unless a comprehensive ceasefire agreement is reached.
This morning, the U.S. pushing for a truce so more hostages can be released, but no deal yet. And now new revelations about those Israeli hostages killed by the Israeli army ramping up the pressure. The Israeli military now revealing the 3 men who were shot by Israeli soldiers while waving a white flag actually escaped from Hamas 5 days earlier, surviving on their own. Now there's unreleased video, the Israeli military says, from a military dog at the scene in the Shujayin neighborhood of Gaza City. The GoPro recorded the hostage's voice. Avi Shamir is the father of 26-year-old Alon, previously told Hallie Jackson he wanted to see the video.
And I asked the IDF investigators to see the movie. If there is any movie, I know it's supposed to be somehow filmed.
The Army Chief of Staff said on Hebrew TV last night the IDF protocol does not allow soldiers to open fire at anyone that raises a white flag. The IDF is responsible for what happened. And last night, Iris Haim, the mother of 28-year-old Yotam, another one of the killed hostages, granted her forgiveness in a voice note widely published in Israeli media, blaming Hamas. "I love you all," she says to the battalion in the recording. "I know what has happened is not your fault." And as anger grows at Prime Minister Netanyahu's government, Secretary of State Blinken stands firmly by Israel.
I hear virtually no one saying, demanding of Hamas that it stop hiding behind civilians, that it lay down its arms, that it surrender.
But today, the 2 million civilians inside Gaza continue to bear the brunt of this grinding war. Our NBC News team on the ground as drone strikes hit Rafah. It was meant to be safe. Displaced from his home in the north, this man asks, where is safety? Mustafa Hussein tells our team, these are all civilians. I came to find a bite of bread to eat. And this little girl says, I want to go home. I want to kiss my mom.
Joe, I just got off the phone with the WHO team inside Gaza, and they are raising the alarm about the lethal combination of infectious diseases and malnutrition right now in Gaza. People are dying from treatable diseases, and the WHO says there are no fully functioning hospitals right now in the entire Gaza Strip. Joe?
All right, Molly, thank you so much. Let's continue this conversation. The war between Israel and Hamas is taking a devastating toll on Palestinian children. Saving the lives of young ones has become increasingly difficult in Gaza, especially with hospitals caught in the crossfire. Well, now hundreds of parents are mourning the loss of their children. Here's NBC News correspondent Hala Garani.
In Rafah on this December day, a man runs down an alleyway carrying an injured toddler. The girl's name is Reem. She's unconscious. The man climbs into an ambulance with her. The rubble the little girl was pulled from has become a familiar scene in Gaza. An airstrike, collapsed buildings, chaos. The war here has killed and wounded nearly 15,000 children in a little over 2 months, according to UNICEF. The UN's Tom White has remained in Gaza throughout.
Children after children after children who are lying in the hospital corridors with horrific injuries, and lots of them, serious blast injuries. They've lost limbs.
And it's not just the injured, it's the disabled and homeless. This UN-run school in southern Gaza has become a refuge for orphans and kids with complex medical needs, some several times displaced, like 90% of the Strip. Sometimes it's the adults who cry as the children stay silent, or watch in horror as buildings collapse around them, leaving children covered in debris and dust. There aren't enough emergency vehicles, so any mode of transport will have to do in Gaza. Horse-drawn carts, pickup trucks, moto taxis. The stream of casualties seems endless.
When I have to deal with a child or a baby without their family, without their father and mother, I feel heavy-hearted and restricted.
Back at the Kuwait Specialty Hospital in Rafah, little Reem is handed over to the medical team and placed on a gurney. The doctors check. Does she have a pulse? Reem Albana, we are told, doesn't make it. In nearby hospitals, parents hug their kids' lifeless bodies, wrapped in shrouds, a last embrace before letting go for good. For them, it's too late. But for hundreds of thousands of others, the future remains unwritten. My wish is for the war to end and go back to my house, this little girl says. And for these children, perhaps, there still might be a chance. Hala Garani, NBC News.
In other news, 6 Americans were welcomed home last night after they were released from Venezuelan custody. It was part of a prisoner exchange with the U.S. In return, the U.S. granted clemency to Alex Saab, an alleged financier to Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro. Saab is accused of helping President Maduro steal hundreds of millions of dollars from the Venezuelan people. Now, as part of the deal, 10 Americans were released yesterday. President Biden released a statement following their return home saying, quote, reuniting wrongfully detained Americans with their loved ones has been a priority for my administration since day one. The Biden administration went on to say the agreement was a, quote, positive and important step forward for relations between the two countries. Now to the race for the White House and the fallout from that bombshell ruling by Colorado's Supreme Court. It bars former President Trump from the state's primary ballot in March, citing the 14th Amendment. The Trump campaign now says it's vowing to challenge the ruling, which will likely make its way to the nation's highest court. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest from Washington.
Hey, Joe, good morning. The Colorado court's conclusion that Donald Trump was in violation of the 14th Amendment's prohibition against insurrection and is no longer eligible to serve as president sent shockwaves through the political world. It's just the latest example of a presidential campaign now being waged in courtrooms just as much as it is on the campaign trail. The legal ruling that could keep Donald Trump off Colorado's primary ballot looming large on the campaign trail, with his Republican rivals defending the man they hope to defeat.
Just because these liberal justices don't like him, they want to take him off the ballot, that's not a democracy.
Former Attorney General Bill Barr, who has been critical of Mr. Trump, questioning the legal merits of the case, arguing it will work to his former boss's advantage.
He feeds on grievance, just like a fire feeds on oxygen, and this is going to end up as a grievance that helps him.
At issue in Colorado, Mr. Trump's role in the January 6th attack on the Capitol, with the Colorado Supreme Court citing his own words as evidence of inciting an insurrection.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
President Biden on Wednesday calling Mr. Trump's role in the Capitol attack self-evident.
But he certainly supported an insurrection, no question about it. None, zero.
The Trump campaign has vowed to swiftly appeal the Colorado case, a 4-3 decision by justices appointed by Democratic governors. And cases like the one in Colorado have faced an uphill battle. Litigation and appeals are pending in more than a dozen states, with lower courts already rejecting some of those cases. And efforts to ban Trump from the ballot have not succeeded in the past. Mr. Trump also faces more than 90 charges in 4 separate criminal cases, including in Washington, where the special counsel has asked the Supreme Court to weigh in on the issue of whether the former president has immunity for his efforts to challenge the 2020 election results. Now, the nation's highest court could have to rule on whether Mr. Trump is even eligible to run, all before the first primary votes are cast. And in a little more than a day since that Colorado court's decision became public, social media has been flooded with threats and violent rhetoric against the judges who wrote it, a nonpartisan public interest research group has found. Much of that rhetoric comes in direct response to Mr. Trump's posts on Truth Social, the researchers say, including the posting of the judges' personal information. No comment on those threats from the court or the campaign so far. Joe?
All right, Garrett, thank you so much. Pennsylvania was a crucial battleground state that helped put President Biden over the top in the 2020 election, and it was key for former President Trump back in 2016. And it's likely to be a major player again in next year's presidential election. But how do voters in the Keystone State feel about a potential rematch between Biden and Trump? NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us now from Erie, Pennsylvania with more on that. Other issues on voters' minds. Dasha, good morning. So we know Erie County is considered more purple. Voters have elected candidates from both parties in the recent past, kind of like Pennsylvania. You're talking with voters there. How are they feeling, first of all, about the job President Biden is doing?
Well, look, Erie tends to be a bellwether. The way Erie goes also tends to be the way Pennsylvania goes. And as you just said, the way Pennsylvania goes also tends to be the way that the nation goes, as Pennsylvania is a key battleground state. And look, people are really mixed here about the job that the president is doing. And as you've seen nationally, his approval numbers are pretty low. And folks here are pretty frustrated, including folks that voted for him. I want you to hear from a woman named Marianne. She actually actually has voted Republican most of her life, but she decided to change her registration to independent because she just couldn't get in line with what Donald Trump has done to the Republican Party. So she voted for Joe Biden in 2020, but here's how she's feeling now.
I think he has done a good job. I think the economy, we did not go into a recession. It feels like interest rates, while they're higher than they were, have certainly come down. Inflation is down. So on paper, it's kind of surprising that people aren't more in support of him. I think he has done a good job, but I was under the impression that he was going to be a one-term president, given his age.
And that's really the crux of it, Joe, is folks are thrilled that he is running again. And that's something that we're hearing across the country. And while the economic indicators on paper are looking good, Marianne says most of her friends, and this is what we've been hearing across the board as we're talking to people here, aren't necessarily feeling like the economy is great. They're still going to the grocery store and feeling like the prices are too high. They're still filling their gas tanks feeling like the prices are too high. They're still looking at homes and are unable to afford them given the mortgage rates right now. So there's a disconnect between what the Biden administration is touting as what they've done on the economy and avoiding a recession and the day-to-day experience that people are experiencing here.
So let's quickly just talk about concerns. What's on voters' minds a year out from the general election?
Yeah, I mean, it's the economy, and a little immigration sprinkled in there. And it really is the kitchen table issues, being able to put food on the table, being able to, for folks that have kids graduating from college, finding them a job, helping them find housing. I want you to hear from a man named Daryl, whose two kids still live at home with him. They're 26 years old. He said he and his wife were expecting to be empty nesters at this point, but it's just too difficult to pay for rent, to potentially buy a home for his children because of the way that the economy is doing right now. He voted for Biden, but isn't thrilled with what he's done right now. He can't see himself voting for Trump, but he's not sure that Biden's going to have his vote given the situation right now. Take a listen.
Tell you the truth, I don't know what I'm going to do with my vote, because if it's Biden and Trump, it's bad. I can't vote for Trump. I just can't bring myself to do it.
You hear the exasperation in Daryl's voice. That's something we're hearing all across Erie County and, frankly, across America. Joe? All
right, Dasha, just a preview of what we might be seeing and hearing a lot more of in the coming year. Appreciate your reporting. A jury in Colorado is set to begin deliberations in the trial over the death of a 23-year-old black man. Elijah McClain died during an encounter with first responders back in 2019. Two paramedics are now facing charges of manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, and assault in the death of McClain. They gave him an overdose of ketamine, a sedative that he did not need. The paramedics argue they were following their training. We've got more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including President Biden's new push to drum up more economic support in some key battleground states in the face of dwindling poll numbers. But first, after the break, a Midwestern update that truly hits home for me. Minnesota, my home state, now has a new state flag. But why the change in 2023? We'll have the answer after this. Welcome back. My home state of Minnesota now has a new state flag. This is the old one right here. The new design, see it right there, for the North Star State replaces a flag with a depiction of a Native American that many found racist. My friend, political reporter John Croman from our affiliate KARE 11 in Minneapolis, my old station, breaks down how the new flag was selected.
But the star that it's in here in the floor, it's pointing north.
Before they gathered at the Capitol, the State Emblem Redesign Commission had already picked their favorite design, known as F-1953, but they wanted to customize it, starting with the star.
From an outsider perspective, it just instinctually looks more like a star right away.
The volunteer experts presented two 8-sided star options, but liked the one pointing up because it more closely mimicked the star in the Capitol Rotunda floor.
The points are facing down and up when you first enter the Capitol.
They offered up 2 options with stripes on the right side and one with a solid light blue feel.
This one, we see it as representing the land of 10,000 lakes, that we are the land of 10,000 lakes. We're the only land of 10,000 lakes, and that's what we're known for. So that is a big part of this, as well as the symmetry that it offers.
When the votes were all collected, the winner was the simplest design by an 11-to-1 vote.
I think we're going to hear from other states and other experts from around the world, first appreciating our flag before eternally. And so I know it's an A-plus flag.
Non-voting Republican members of the panel are unhappy the Dakota phrase Minnesota Makoche is going on this new state seal. They think the entire process was too rushed.
And I would recommend, and our minority report will contain the recommendation that the people of Minnesota have the ability to vote to approve this flag. We are a democracy after all.
By the time my kids are adults, they'll embrace this flag. They'll hardly remember we had one before it. Everyone will get on board.
Our thanks to John Croman for that report. Even though the state seal is being removed from the flag, as John said, it's also getting an update adding a Dakota phrase that means land where the waters reflect the clouds. Now to international headlines, the latest out of Congo, where the high-stakes presidential election is seeing some delays. NBC's Claudia Lavaga has that and other world headlines. Claudia, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Officials in Congo decided to extend the presidential elections by at least 1 day after many voters yesterday struggled to cast their ballots. Now, about 44 million people were eligible to vote, but many couldn't because of a series of problems. Some voters were turned away because the ink on some of the voting cards were smudged. Another polling station in Kinshasa received voting devices literally 2 hours before polls were meant to close, and other polling stations reported faulty machines. Now, the chair of the Electoral Commission there, Denis Kadima, said on local radio that polling stations that never opened yesterday will be open today. Let's now go to India, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised to look into allegations that an Indian citizen plotted to assassinate a Sikh separatist in the United States. The U.S. Justice Department charged the man last month and alleged that Indian government officials were involved in the planning. In an interview to the Financial Times, Modi said, "If someone gives us any information, we will definitely look into it." Recently, Canada also accused the Indian government of links to the killing of another Sikh separatist on Canadian soil, causing a diplomatic row between the two countries. And let's end this tour of the world in Japan, where a rare work of art allegedly painted by all 4 members of the Beatles will be auctioned in February. It's called Images of a Woman, and it was created in Tokyo while the band was touring Japan in 1966. The Beatles only spent 100 hours in Japan, but outside of performing, they were reportedly unable to leave their hotel rooms due to security concerns, not only because of their adoring fans, but also because they received threats by Japanese nationalists who were against a Western band playing in an arena considered a spiritual home for martial arts. Hence, they spent their time creating this artwork. Experts at Christie's believe that this is the only artwork jointly created by John, Paul, Ringo, and George, and expected to fetch anything between $400,000 and $600,000, John.
I love that. They're like, all right, we got nothing to do. Let's make some art, guys. All right, Claudia, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, we have got some good money news for you on this Thursday before Christmas. After the break, an in-depth look at why Americans are feeling more optimistic about the future of the economy than they have in months. That's next on Morning News Now. Welcome back. It looks like American consumers are heading into 2024 feeling better about the country's economic future than they have in months. A new survey from the Conference Board says that its consumer confidence index rose by nearly 10 points in December, reaching its highest level since July. It comes just as consumer expectations for a recession over the next 12 months fell to their lowest point this year. NBC senior business correspondent Christine Romans joins us now to discuss. So first of all, what goes into this consumer confidence index and how significant is the new rating?
You know, it's pretty significant, and it's finally, for months people have been saying they feel pretty lousy about the economy. So they asked them about their jobs, about how they feel about their own personal finances in the next 18 months, and they were more confident about the availability of jobs. They're more confident about their own kitchen table economics over the next 18 months, and their inflation expectations, as as it's called, those were starting to improve. They don't think that inflation is going to be the terrible problem in the future that it has been in the recent past. And so taken all together, people say they're feeling more confident about the American economy. So this year that started with recession expectations, we will not end with a lump of coal in our stockings, apparently.
That's good to hear, which means the Christmas gifts will be hopefully coming up plenty in the next few days for folks. So let's break it down a little bit. Is there a group that saw the highest confidence jump?
So confidence grew among everybody, but more pronounced among people who are 35 to 54, so more likely to have a mortgage, right, and probably have their home values have been going up, and they probably have a mortgage at 3%. And also people who make $125,000 or more. Also, they probably have a big 401k. S&P 500 is on track for the best quarter since 2021, up 20% this year. So you're looking at that demographic, and you know, I call them the older millennials and the Gen Xers, and then the people with $125,000 or more.
If you haven't looked at your 401k in the last 2 or 3 weeks, check it out. It'll make you feel good.
It's safe to look.
So, I mean, inflation was a huge worry throughout 2023. How has that changed? How do we think people are going to take that confidence into the...
So the folks in this survey said they're feeling better about the inflation. So one thing, gas prices are down, and a lot of things that you're buying right now are down. Toys, TVs. That's actual deflation in some of these parts of the economy. But you still have, while people like me and the Fed and the White House talk about the inflation rate getting better, you're still paying more for your grocery bill today than you were a couple of years ago. So that's still that nagging concern, especially like bread and meat prices are still up. And those are things that, you know, American families need. I think what you'll see going forward is if the Fed can really get this inflation story behind it, people will start to believe these numbers a little bit more.
The mortgage rates, how are they playing into all of this right now?
You know, they were 3%. Most people have a mortgage 3 to 5%. So that means you're stuck in your house, golden handcuffs, right? But now look what happened. They topped 8%, and now they've been slipping back below 7% again. So the hope is, and the National Association of Realtors and others are hoping that next year there will be a moment for people to think about refinancing if you've got a mortgage of that 8%, or maybe be able to get out there, first-time home buyer, and tiptoe into this market. So maybe you'll see mortgage rates continue to decline into next year.
It just might be gradual, right?
Gradual. I wouldn't look for that to happen overnight.
Okay. All right. Christine Romans, good to see you.
Nice
Thank you so much. The holiday season brings many tourists here to New York City, of course. Many of them visit the iconic Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, which is, of course, right outside of our studio. But it can be overwhelming if you're trying to grab that perfect selfie and you're surrounded by dozens, dare I say, hundreds, thousands of other people trying to do the same. But as Today anchor Chanel Jones tells us, perhaps the best way to take a picture with the tree is setting your alarm clock a little earlier.
The early bird just doesn't catch the worm. It gets that picture-perfect moment, too.
It is 4:40 in the morning, and we came to see the Rockefeller tree light up.
Brandy and Hector Maldonado had their game plan all set.
We went to bed pretty early to make sure we were here today.
For their family to have this one-on-one moment with the world-famous Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. During the day, it usually looks like this, packed with people. But this morning, the Maldonados aren't the only ones hoping to get some pre-dawn Christmas memories. New York City during the holidays is known for its iconic landmarks, dripping in dazzling decorations, enchanting window displays, and endless crowds everywhere.
You just have to get up before 7 a.m.
But if waking up before sunrise just isn't your thing, look for off-the-beaten-path alternatives. This beauty is just a 5-minute walk from Rockefeller Center, not another tourist in sight.
All of those hidden gems are the things that aren't always on all of the lists.
Tourist hotspots like London look absolutely picturesque this time of year, too. But it's often so full of people, it can be hard to just walk down the street. During the day, Rome is always packed. 35 million tourists came last year. But in those quiet hours before the sun is up, not a soul stirring, not even a mouse. The glow of the Christmas tree in the city center's Piazza del Popolo, serene and beautiful. Prague's Old Town Square, famous for its Christmas market and daily hordes of visitors. But at dawn, it feels like you've stepped back in time.
There's something so magical and so almost precious about being there at that time. You're there and you get to kind of breathe in the experience and really take it all in.
The dedicated Rise and Shiners outside 30 Rock's iconic Christmas tree this morning, grateful they didn't sleep in.
I think it was like pretty magical because I haven't gotten to see it like with no one here.
Our thanks to Chanel Jones for that report. On Christmas Day, the tree will be lit for 24 hours to commemorate the holiday. The tree is actually going to be on view until January 13th. So in January, get your photo for next year's holiday card. Tired of your partner stealing all the blankets at night? What about that constant snoring that might keep you from getting a good night's sleep? Well, a growing number of couples say these are just some of the reasons why they don't sleep in the same bedroom. And now celebrities like Cameron Diaz are speaking out, saying this should be normalized. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has more.
Yeah, hi there. How annoying is it when you're trying to sleep and your partner is snoring, kicking, taking all the blankets? Well, you might be happy to learn that you're not alone, and more now couples are saying it's okay and even healthy to sleep apart.
It used to be something prominently featured on national TV.
Good night.
Good night. Couples sleeping in separate beds.
Come on.
Yet in modern times,
maybe we could just keep the beds apart.
It's assumed happy couples sleep together.
But we're married. Aren't married people supposed to?
But now times are a-changin'.
My husband and I no longer sleep together.
It's called sleep divorce, the idea that couples can sleep not only in separate beds, but separate bedrooms. While it's not for everyone, the hashtag has more than 1 million views on TikTok. Even Cameron Diaz is now giving it her endorsement.
We should normalize like separate bedrooms.
Thank you. While Diaz says she and her husband don't currently do it, others like Gwyneth Paltrow and even our own Carson Daly have admitted to at times sleeping separately from their spouses.
And it's the best thing that ever happened to us. We both admittedly slept better apart.
One recent survey found that more than a third of respondents said they occasionally or regularly sleep in separate bedrooms from their partner.
It's just that you snore a little.
What? I do not.
Snoring and different bedtimes are among the many reasons Elizabeth Pearson and her husband Ryan chose 8 years ago to sleep in different rooms.
I was like, geez, why couldn't he just go to bed when I go to bed? And it wasn't fair because people have different sleep patterns. And so once we connected the dots that we slept so much better separately, we really embraced it.
What do you say to people who say that sleeping in separate bedrooms could hurt your sex life and your intimacy?
She would wake up resentful from not having a good night of sleep because I was maybe snoring and I didn't have a good night of sleep. So that's not great for intimacy and sex life either. People say money is the key to happiness. I would say that sleep is the key to happiness.
One secret to a healthy marriage that doesn't involve fights about who's hogging the blankets.
And the couple says it's not only helped their marriage, but also their careers, leaving them more rested and alert at work. And they said the way they explained it to their 2 kids is that just like their 2 daughters don't like sharing a bed, one kicks the other, they also like and need their own space. Back to you.
Makes sense. Liz Kreutz, thank you so much. Coming up, investing in America. After the break, we're going to take a closer look at President Biden's push to bolster economic support in key battleground states amid some pretty lukewarm poll numbers. That's next. Welcome back. President Biden is highlighting his administration's efforts to support Black-owned businesses. The president made a stop in Milwaukee yesterday, visiting that city's Black Chamber of Commerce. He spoke about economic improvement and business growth under his administration. It comes as Democrats are trying to bolster support in the battleground state of Wisconsin. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us with more on this. Monica, good morning. So this is President Biden's 3rd visit to Wisconsin this year. Explain to us the importance of this state in next year's election. And what were some of the big takeaways from this trip?
It's a critical battleground state, absolutely, Joe, and one that you'll likely see President Biden returning to a fair bit in 2024. This event specifically was about bringing awareness to the amount of Black businesses that have been growing and the number of applications that the Biden administration has seen for new Black-owned businesses. Specifically, this was something where the president was highlighting a company called Hero Plumbing, and he was speaking to the fact that really there has been a growth in in this sector of the economy that he would like to see continue, but he also took some shots at Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Take a listen to a bit of that from his remarks.
Some in this country are waging a full-on attack of black economic opportunity. They're denying economic opportunity when it comes to higher education, starting a business, keeping businesses open. Republicans are against so many critical actions that help working and middle-class people, especially black Americans. Just remember how the pandemic hit black businesses especially hard. How my predecessor on his watch, women and minority-owned small businesses found themselves last in line to access emergency relief.
So specifically there, through funding from the American Rescue Plan, the bipartisan infrastructure law, there have been this ability from the Biden administration, the opportunity to fund more black-owned businesses and to continue to see that. As today, the Biden administration, the White House, the president likely going to celebrate the fact that consumer confidence is high, and this is something that they have continued to talk about from the economic perspective. That messaging isn't always breaking through the way they would like it to, which is why they're putting such an emphasis on it, Joe.
Right. I mean, the message isn't breaking through, which is why polls show people largely disapprove of president's handling of the economy. So how was this visit received overall in the wake of that?
And this is something that Biden aides will tell you time and time again. They feel that there will be a lag in some of the benefits here, that people may not sense this until later on into 2024. That's the bet that they are making. But those polls continue to be concerning because they really don't match the reality this White House is trying to talk about when you look at some of the other positive indicators from the economy, like consumer confidence I just mentioned, record unemployment going down, specifically also for black and Hispanics. So that's something that they have really been trying to talk about from minorities' perspective, that they have been able to benefit from that, even though, again, overall, many people, because of high prices and because of recent inflation, say they just aren't feeling those effects in their own homes at their own kitchen tables. Joe.
So, Monica, I mean, black voters played a key role in helping the president win battleground states in 2020. So what does his visit to Wisconsin say about the importance of black voters, not just in Milwaukee, but in Atlanta, in Philly, as we get closer to next year's election?
Oh, it's certainly going to be something that this administration is going to continue, they say, to prioritize and to highlight. It's something also that you see the president talking about every single time he does talk about those jobs numbers. It would be an absolutely critical voting bloc. It was for President Biden in 2020. Remember, his campaign was struggling. He had not done well in the initial primary contest, and it was South Carolina with such a large African-American voter turnout that was able to really propel him to the Democratic nomination then. Joe.
All right, Monica Alba, thank you so much. More financial headlines now. New reports from Axios say Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global are in talks about a possible merger. CNBC's Silvana Henao is back with that and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yes, so Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global are reportedly in talks about a possible merger. So Axios first reported the news. The CEOs of the media companies met on Tuesday at Paramount's headquarters in Times Square. A deal would combine their streaming services, Max and Paramount Plus, to compete with rivals like Netflix and Disney Plus. Warner CEO David Zaslav has also discussed a deal with Sherry Redstone. That's the head of Paramount's parent company, National Amusements. Paramount is facing pressure to find a partner or buyer as it's under a mountain of debt. Talks are in early stages and may not ultimately result in a deal. Toyota is recalling about 1 million cars in the U.S. because of a possible defect with a sensor in the front passenger side airbag. Toyota says the sensor could short circuit, preventing the airbag from deploying in an accident. There are 6 models being recalled covering the years 2020 to 2022, including the Camry, RAV4, and Lexus ES and RX. Toyota will notify owners by mid-February. And the longtime CEO of Activision Blizzard is stepping down next week following Microsoft's acquisition of the video game maker. Bobby Kotick has led the maker of Call of Duty and World of Warcraft for more than 30 years. Microsoft has not named his replacement, and is rolling several other Activision executives under its game content and studios division. A number of other executives will depart in March. Last week, Activision agreed to pay $55 million to settle a civil rights lawsuit that alleged toxic culture at the company, Joe.
All right, Savannah, thank you so much. It has been a year of heat waves, fires, and floods, and experts say this will be the warmest year on record. Today, host Al Roker explains how rising temperatures are fueling extreme weather with a look back at the biggest climate headlines of 2023.
2023, the hottest year ever on Earth.
Oh my God.
A year of climate and weather extremes. In the U.S., the number of billion-dollar disasters tallied 25, more than any other year. New Year's rang in with thousands of records shattering across Europe. At least 8 countries had their warmest January day ever. Back home, things were no better. A siege of atmospheric rivers lashed the West Coast through March. Destructive flash floods swept through parts of California, burying the Sierra under 60 feet of snow, and brought a historically dry Tulare Lake back from the dead. When spring arrived, so did the tornadoes. The strongest and most devastating twister of the year was a ferocious EF4 tearing through Rolling Fork, Mississippi, carving a 59-mile path across the state and packing winds as high as 195 miles per hour. Just days later, a 2-day tornado outbreak spawned the 3rd largest outbreak in U.S. history. A shift to the east in what's known as the traditional tornado alley is making higher density and more vulnerable populations a target for these types of disasters. In June, wildfire smoke was choking the Big Apple, making it seem like a Mars landscape, shrouding iconic landmarks like the Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building. Both Chicago and New York had the dubious distinction of worst air quality in the world during that hazy week. Climate change making wildfire smoke outbreaks more frequent. As northern cities suffocated, southern cities broiled under relentless days of dangerous heat. At the end of July, Phoenix hitting a record 31 straight days of 100 degrees or hotter. The previous record, just 18 days. Miami's extreme heat and tropical humidity resulted in 46 days registering a heat index over 100 degrees. More than a dozen U.S. cities recording their hottest summer on record. The tropics lit up in late August when Hurricane Idalia rapidly intensified over the Gulf of Mexico, striking North Florida as a high-end Category 3 with winds of 125 miles per hour. Fueled by record warm sea surface temperatures, the 4th most active in history. By November, the brutal heat plaguing the U.S. was now broiling the southern hemisphere. The heat index in Rio de Janeiro hitting an astonishing 138 degrees, the highest ever recorded there. And for the 3rd year in a row, deadly tornadoes ripped through the south just days before Christmas.
Oh my God!
2023, experiencing so many extreme weather events, we couldn't include them all here. Climate change-driven weather, leaving its mark all around the globe.
And our thanks to Al Roker for that report. All right, coming up, we are spreading some Christmas cheer this morning with what else? A bunch of giant inflatable Santas. Why one Florida neighborhood is adorning its front lawns with the sizable St. Nick's to create an experience that'll have you saying, ho, ho, holy cow. That's next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Finally this hour, we might be 4 long days away from Santa Claus coming to town, but one Florida neighborhood is getting an early visit right on their front lawns, and let's just say he is hard to miss. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky joins us now with more on these supersized Santas. Oh my goodness, Morgan, good morning.
Yeah, Joe, oh my goodness, is exactly right. And leave it to the holiday season to remind us that when it comes to holiday decorations, especially these big, beautiful inflatables, beauty can kind of be in the eye of the beholder. Personally, I'm fine with a well-decorated tree, perhaps a nice string of lights. But for one Florida neighborhood, they decided to blow up the holiday tradition in a very big way. When it comes to ringing in the holidays, in Florida, they've perfected the art of dressing the part. even if it doesn't feel like it. But south of Tampa in Sapphire Point, the neighborhood's on a supersized mission, spreading Christmas cheer, 14 inflatable feet at a time.
Have you realized yet that you caused all this?
I merely ignited the spark. It was really my neighbors that came together and brought the idea to life.
Brianna Winter's big idea? A text to neighborhood moms asking the question, what if we lined our street with the biggest inflatable Santas we could find?
I was so glad when Brianna reached out and said, "Are you down for this?" And I said, "Absolutely, give me 5 minutes." She just sent out a text message, and like she said, it just took off like wildfire.
We confirmed it ourselves, courtesy of the most festive golf cart maybe ever.
Is this the epicenter of your Florida North Pole?
Absolutely.
But if you thought spreading this much Christmas cheer was easy, think again.
Inflatables are polarizing, and some people consider them to be tacky.
I don't like inflatables.
Not even a little bit.
No,
But not even Ashley King could resist, especially after seeing how the neighborhood came together. One inflatable Kris Kringle after another. Some stores even selling out.
It's not my normal Christmas visual, but I'm going with it.
The younger generation rolling with it too, loving to count every single new Santa they can find. At last check, well on their way to 100.
It's so cool to see like it all up.
My favorite bit is like everybody helping each other like get them up and like making new friends along the way.
New friends from a new tradition that likely isn't going anywhere.
They're going to say, you know, when I was growing up in my childhood, all of our neighbors put it the same Santa Claus. It was magical. And I love that for them.
Yeah, you could certainly feel the holiday magic in Sapphire Point, Joe. And I have to tell you, after seeing how it took off there, my opinion on inflatables may have changed a little bit. No, this is not my personal collection, but get this. The folks in Sapphire Point tell me that come next Christmas, they're already talking about finding a bigger and better Santa Claus. Going to be tough to beat, Joe.
You're going to go back there next year, and it's just there's going to be no streets. It's just going to be
inflatables
have to. Everywhere. All right. Morgan, thank you for that story. Appreciate it. That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now, but please stay with us. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.